From the precision of the Masters touch to the luxury of the Caribbean's most iconic fairways, today we're covering the full spectrum of the game. We've got the Coach's Corner panel helping to refine your swing, plus we'll do a deep dive into the world-renowned Punta Espada at Cap Cana. Finally, we help guide you on the ultimate roadmap for junior golfers aiming for the collegiate stage. If you want to play better and travel smarter, you're in the right place. Get ready. It's time for Golf Talk Live.
The following broadcast is brought to you by the iGolf Sports Network.
Golf Talk Live is sponsored by the iGolf Sports Network and Golf Tips Magazine. Here's Andrew to tell you more about our sponsors.
iGolf Sports is a live stream broadcast and media production company providing quality programming designed to attract the golfing enthusiast. And Golf Tips, the game's most in-depth instruction magazine, including reviews on the latest equipment, tips from top teaching professionals, all designed to help you improve from tee to green. Welcome to Golf Talk Live with your host, Ted Odorico. Join Ted each week as he speaks with some of the best in golf. This week's special guest will join us a bit later. But first up is another great discussion on Coach's Corner. So let's introduce tonight's Coach's Corner panel.
All right, welcome to Golf Talk Live. I'm your host, Ted Odorico. We have an elite lineup for you today that spans from the lesson tee to the Dominican Republic. Joining us on the Coach's Corner panel are PGA Master Professional John Hughes and Pete Buchanan of Plain Simple Golf to help you simplify your mechanics. Later, travel expert Robert Kaufman brings us a special guest, Alexis Santana, the Managing Director of Punta Espada Golf Club in Dominican Republic. And then finally, we talked to Jeff Ensiek, the Managing Director with College Golf Experience, and how they are changing the game for young athletes. For those of you that want to know where to tune in, you can go to the iGolf Sports YouTube channel or on Spotify if you want to catch us on the video format. Or if you want to just catch us on the go, you can listen to it on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, or any of your favorite platforms. And don't forget to subscribe to the channels to stay up to date and informed. All right, if you're ready, let's get to work. All right, joining me, as I mentioned, on the Coach's Corner panel is, first up is John Hughes from John Hughes Golf. He is a PGA Master Professional of Instruction and the 2013 recipient of the PGA of America's Professional Development Award. And he is the owner of John Hughes Golf based in Orlando at the Omni Orlando Resort at Champions Gate. And with over 30 years of experience, John is a Golf Tips top 25 instructor and a recurring top 100 teacher and is well renowned for his holistic approach to coaching, focusing on both the individual's physical capabilities and mental approach. And you can catch him at johnhughesgolf.com. Also on the panel tonight is Pete Buchanan from Plain Simple Golf. He is the founder of Plain Simple Golf and expert in the swim mechanics and biomechanics. And his philosophy focuses on simplifying the golf swing by eliminating unnecessary movements, helping golfers of all levels achieve a repeatable, plain, simple motion. And his website is petebuchanangolf.com. So, guys, welcome to tonight's Coach's Corner panel.
Ted, it's good to be here.
Hello.
I appreciate it. So we've got John from Orlando, and we've got Pete from St. Louis, and I'm here down in Florida as well, up in the Panhandle area. So we got kind of a three, not quite three different, two in one state and one in another state, but we're kind of in different areas, so it's makes it a little bit interesting. All right, so we're going to have a different Coach's Corner tonight. We're going to start off with some basic questions just to kind of get you warmed up here. And then we're going to move into a rapid fire on the second part of it. So this is going to be fun, something we haven't done yet on the Coach's Corner. I'm trying to make it a little more interesting this season. So we'll try to see how we get things started here. So tonight's topic is how to get out of some of the worst areas on the course. And, of course, John, I'm going to start with you. And this is the hero shot trap, as it's called. I'll give you a little bit of the history, if you will, the background of what I'm talking about, and then I'll get you to give your response. So, John, when a player is stuck behind a tree or in maybe some thick brush, what's the specific mental trigger they should use to choose the smart lateral or over the miracle gap?
What's the shot that keeps par in play? It's literally that simple. What is the shot that keeps you in play and pars in play? Too many times I see people make an over-aggressive decision and then conservatively go about it because they don't know how to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather you make the conservative decision that you can play with commitment commitment means aggression, but not over aggression, that keeps par in play. I can't say it any simpler. When I'm out on the course with people, they look at me like I'm growing warts off the side of my ears all the time. It, but it's like, hey, just put it out there. Just put it out there. Put it to a yardage that you can tackle to the green from there, and let's give yourself the best opportunity for par. You can't make birdies until you learn to make pars. If you're trying to be a hero and it gets knocked down in front of you and you're staring bogey in the face, that's why the bigger numbers happen.
Yeah, and that's a smart play. You know, with 50 plus percent of all golfers out there struggling to even break 100, you don't want to be doing the hero shot out there. I think that's a smart play. Is let's get back into play, set yourself up for the next shot, give you a chance, a good chance to go for the green with your third shot if you have to. So I think that's a smart play. Pete, sticking with some of the worst areas, this one, fairway bunkers. Pete, for a long fairway bunker shot, what is the one setup adjustment, ball position, or foot depth that ensures clean contact needed to clear that lip?
Well, that's the first thing you have to worry about is getting over the lip. A lot of times you're going to have to select a club that may not get you to where you want to go. So you've got to take a club that's going to get you over the lip first. But I approach fairway bunkers a little bit different than most. When you're walking into it, depending on as you get near where the ball is, depending on how much you go down. If you don't sink down very much, then I probably wouldn't grip down on the club very much at all. I like to play the ball just a little bit in the center so I can make sure I catch the ball first. And then I typically just take the same swing I always take. A lot of times I talk about trying to make it steeper, trying to make it more down, trying to hit more down to it to try to get to it. And I find that a lot of times they just drive it right into the lip when they try that. So I like them to be able to make a swing that they would make normally, but just move the ball back a bit so you're going to catch it first more than any of the sand. If you get in there and your feet go down an inch or so, then go down an inch or so. You'll try to match what the ground level of your feet is doing to give you the right length on the club so you can still make the same type of swing. But, again, it's all about, as John was previously saying, many times it's just getting it back in front of you down on the golf course so you can play the next one. Get yourself out of a trouble situation. Fairway bunkers can be, you watch the tour guys do it. They practice it all the time. If you're not one that practices it very much, then take a club that's going to get it out, get it down the fairway enough, and as John was saying before, keep par in play. Put yourself in a situation where you can make the next one. And again, a lot of times you may not be able to get all the way to the green, but that's okay. You got to get over the lip in front of you. So take a club that will do that first, and then adjust yourself in the setup so you can contact the ball first.
Yeah, well said. And, being that this is Masters Week, now is a good time to watch the pros because they're going to be faced with a lot of challenges out there at Augusta National, and you're going to see them not taking as many risks as you would typically see them play at other tournaments because the greens are fast, the bunkers, even though they're nice and white and sandy, they can cause some problems as well. And even the fairways can be a little quick at times too. So, I mean, you've got to really be smart about it when you're out in the golf course. And the safe play is get it back in play and let's set yourself up for the next shot. You don't need to be taking a lot of risks. We're going to stick, John, with the bunker shot. This is the fried egg lie, if you will, or buried lie. So, John, when the ball is plugged in a greenside bunker, let's say, do you recommend a square or open face? And how much harder does the player need to strike the sand, do you think? Obviously, there's a lot of factors involved, but typically, what do you advise?
The first thing I'm going to advise is, can you play it out? And it's okay to take the penalty stroke for an unplayable lie right there. And most people really need to think about it. Why would you be hacking 2, 3, 4 times out of a bunker because the first one was so buried that you're frustrated that didn't get out? I've literally stopped people in their tracks before I even do the other two things you mentioned. If you don't think you can get this out, take the unplayable, drop it in the bunker, hit the one shot. It might not keep par in play, but it's going to prevent the big number. From a super buried lie, let's figure out, are you on the flat? You on the downhill? Most of the time you're not going to be downhill, but you could be going severely uphill. I'm not going to ask somebody to close the face, because if they close it too much, it just digs in, takes all the momentum out of the shot. Square it up. Make sure that you have an open stance so you can come more vertical with it. And the very last thing you got to do is finish the swing. There is some science behind abruptly stopping your swing and letting that kind of lie just sort of pop itself out. But most average amateurs aren't skilled enough to understand where that stop happens. That stop happens in the sand, not before you hit the sand. And most people are trying to stop the club before you hit the sand. Sand's going to slow your club down as much as 75%. So if you're going to pop it, let the sand pop it. In most people's cases, get through and finish. Just get through and finish. And if it's out of the bunker, that's a great day. That's a great shot. Anything over and above that, that's icing on your cake.
Yeah, well said. And just a quick note, I want to make a correction. I meant to say squared. I actually had squared written in my notes. I don't know why I said closed. So good catch there. So, Pete, I want to come back to you on this one. And this one, we're going to talk about a severe downhill lie. Pete, when the ball is well below your feet or certainly on a steep downslope, how does the golfer adjust the swing plane to avoid the common thin or sculled shots, or what other adjustments will they need to consider?
Well, if you're just on downhill, you have to set yourself parallel to the slope like you would, any right angles to the slope, I should say, like you would when you're standing on a level ground. You want to get yourself to be on the same angle the slope is. That way you can, make a swing that's going to be comparable to when you were standing on a level ground. You have to understand that it's going to go lower, so you're probably going to have to take more loft. You may not carry it all the way to where you're trying to get to. I would say when you're on the downhill, you should probably make the swing a little bit slower than you normally would, so you can make some contact. But I would say get yourself at right angles to the hill, maybe play the ball back a ball or two just to make sure you can get it. And then, when you're on the downhill, you want to make sure you finish. You got to get through the shot on the forward side. A lot of times they'll make the backswing, then they'll hang back and, just send it right into the hillside. So you want to make sure you swing it up the slope and then down the slope, chase after it and turn all the way through and finish on the forward side when you're on that downhill lot. And when it's below your feet, that's a tough one. You've got to get yourself probably a little bit more bent over in the posture, so a little bit more forward from the waist to get down to where the ball sits. That's going to create a swing. Typically, that's going to be a little bit more upright. The more upright swing you're going to make, the more open the face is probably going to get, the more right the ball is going to go. So you're going to have to adjust for that. You also want to make sure you don't go in there with too little loft. Make sure you have some loft that you can deal with to get the ball up in the air and get it to go somewhere. And again, the ball below your feet when you're taking a full swing, you just want to get it in play, get it down there somewhere where you can deal with it again. It's a tough one. It's got to have a more vertical swing. It's got to be more up and down so you can get down to where the ball sits. Again, that's going to tend for most people to make the face open up a bit. Unless you're somebody who hooks it, that may straighten yours out. You might want to stay there for a while because it will fix your swing. But anytime you're on a ball below your feet, you just have to bend forward, get down to where the ball is, and make the swing a little bit up.
Well said. There's really, I think, the sort of common theme that I hear from both of you, and I think this is something that we've talked about many, many times, is you really have to do sort of a quick assessment of the situation, because there's really no sort of standard shot, if you will. I mean, it's very seldom you're ever going to find a standard shot when you're out in the golf course. And if you are, count your blessings, because it's about one in a million that you're going to get that. And so, I mean, you really have to assess the situation, and there's a lot of variables that could be factored in there as well. And I realize that. So, a lot of the advice that we give here in the Coach's Corner is sort of based off of a standard shot, if you will. But again, this is where coming to a coach like yourselves and myself, where you're going to be dial in on a little specifics when it becomes necessary. But great answer so far. All right. So, John, this is one here that we don't really talk about a lot, and this one's sort of under the branches. So you've hit maybe an errant tee shot. You're in the woods a little bit, and your really only option is to hit below the canopy, as they say. You've got some low hanging branches, so you're looking to kind of hit that sort of a low punch, maybe a stinger under that canopy. what I'm looking for here is talk about as far as adjustments with your hands and weight. Should we be moving them in one way or the other in order to accommodate that type of a shot? Give us the scoop.
Well, we don't talk about it a lot because there's a lot hidden behind trees we don't want to talk about, and particularly that kind of shot. Um, the when it, I always tell people, what's your standard setup and how are you going to alter off of that? And you can use that theory almost anywhere with any of these shots that you're talking about. With that one, we're trying to keep it lower. It's okay to use a lot more club with less loft. That's going to help you right away. If you're very uncomfortable moving ball position, whether it's weight distribution, the vision's off, or whatever, you can put the ball middle of your stance, use a 4-iron, use a hybrid, and make more of a very large putting stroke. And let's just hit it out there and get it back in play. You're looking for something that's going to advance. Now we have to talk about some other clubs. We do have to talk about some variables off your standard setup, such as a ball a little bit further back than normal in the middle, off middle rather, I should say. Yes, some weight forward, which is artificially going to press those hands and that handle forward because we're trying to de-loft the golf club. I think the biggest mistake most people do is they try to adjust their swing, not their setup. And when they're adjusting their swing, just like the bunker answer I gave previously, you're trying to slow that swing down, and that's not what you're trying to do. Can you set up to make a punch shot, a 9-3 shot is what I call it. And when you can have that 9-3 shot, ball just back of middle, weight forward, it's going to come out a lot lower. It's all a matter of where you're going to direct it as to how far it's going to go.
Yeah, well said. And again, there's a lot of variables, and we understand that here on the Coach's Corner panel. And I think that really what we want to do is just to give people a sort of a general guide, if you will, and talking about some of the things that we talk about here, just to give them a starting point. And then obviously, hopefully we get a little further conversation at some point when they contact us. And I think that this is really a lot of golfers. I see people all the time talking online in different groups and things like that, and they're asking, it seems very simple questions like what we're talking about here tonight, but you'd be surprised at how many people haven't got a clue. Even been playing golf for years, they still don't know what to do, and they're struggling in that. So this is really the purpose of these panel discussions. It's just to give people an option to kind of have a starting point, and then if they want to develop a conversation, they can reach out to their local pro, or they can even reach out to us. We're happy to bring those questions and raise them again on future panel discussions. So this one, Pete, I want to throw at you, and this is sort of that deep greenside rough. We see that sometimes it even looks like a bunker. When the ball is sitting at the bottom of the cabbage, as they say, how do you prevent that grass from closing the club face at impact? What do you need to do here?
Well, that's a tough one. You've got to get the club face more open to begin with, so that if there's any closing at all, you still have some loft to deal with. And I would always say, anytime you're down in something, you need more pitch, and you're going to have a club that has more loft on it. You're going to have to open it up more, and you're going to have a swing that's going to go more up and down to get down to where the ball sits. It's going to be kind of a messy impact because you're going to be tracking a lot of grass, and the ball's probably going to come out dead and run. But that's just the way it is. Get some loft in your hands. I don't think you necessarily have to play the ball too far back, but I do think you have to get the club to swing a little bit more up and down. You've got to get your hands and arms to get the club moving more abruptly up and down to get down to where the grass sits. But get some loft in your hand. Maybe set it a little open to begin with. So that you can try to slide through as much of the grass as you can and prevent the club from closing too much and leaving you a foot in front of you from where you just were. Again, start with some loft, open it up, and just try to advance it out of that deep stuff. And if you can get it on the green, what a bonus that is. But, you're just trying to get it out of that deep stuff and move yourself forward.
Yeah, and I in my opinion, this is one of the toughest shots that you see, even on tour. You see a lot of these guys, especially when you get that sort of deep, gnarly, rough right near the green, and you don't have, especially if you don't have a lot of green to play with, or you've got maybe water on the backside, and you run the risk of not making contact and either leaving it in the grass, or you happen to catch it a little thin, and the next thing you know, it's skating across the green. So it's a tough shot for even the best of them, but again. with a proper setup and a proper understanding of how to execute the shot, you're going to increase your chances of being successful. John, this is the last one of the regular question. Then we're going to get into our rapid fire discussion. I call this one the divot from hell. And this is when your ball gets into kind of that sandy divot, if you will, in some cases in the middle of the fairway. What do we got to do here? What adjustments do we need to kind of get this one airborne? Because a lot of people miss the boat on this one as well. So you hit your ball, nice tee shot, and you find yourself in somebody else's divot that they didn't repair. What do you got to do to get yourself advanced forward here?
Number one, it's not your fault. I see so many people get so bent out of shape over hitting that good drive as you described, and then they're up there and they just can't get over the fact they're in a divot. And that is probably more than half the battle, because they cannot just let the emotions go and then start problem solving. And similar to what Pete just said, you need a little bit more verticality in your swing here, getting a little closer, because the ball's below your feet. If it's in a divot, it's below your feet. Let's get a little closer. Let's take one more golf club. There's no need to hood it or shut it down. Let's just get more vertical. And when I tell people, when your ball is in a perilous position, you're in trouble, automatic is ball middle of your stance. And in this case, that's going to create a more vertical swing no matter what club you have in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking one more club because that divot's going to slow things down, and you're going to slow things down vertically. Your brain's going to sort of freak out a little and go, hey, you're going to hurt yourself. Let's take one more club so you don't have to swing so hard as well. With that combination, and again, this is all setup. It has nothing to do with your swing, but you've got to get over the emotional unluckiness first for you to problem solve it.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And I mean, we've all been down that situation before. You hit a really good shot and only to find yourself in somebody's divot. And that, you're right. It's very easy to get upset about it, but you just sort of put that in the past and you're on this shot now. Forget about the last shot and let's focus on what we need to do for this shot here to move forward, and just, do what you need to do to get it out. And, don't make it into don't make it, as the old saying, don't make it a mountain out of a molehill. And that's the way you have to look at it. All right, coaches, this is round 2, if you will, the rapid fire round. I'm going to give you a pressure cooker scenario, and I want you to give me, this is the deal here, a 1-sentence fix to save the hole. And unfortunately, Pete, you're up first. So, and if you have to go a little bit over, I'll give you some grace because it's the first time we do it. So, nervous opening tee shot, Pete. It's the first hole. There's a crowd watching, and the nerves are definitely up. What's the swing thought?
Deep breath. Make it smooth.
Okay. I like that. Good one. All right, John, tight lie chip. John, you're off the green on hard pan, no grass, putter or wedge?
What was the last thing? Putter or wedge?
Or wedge, yes. Tight lie chip, you're off the green, hard pan, no grass, putter or wedge?
Go with your gut based on what you know you and your skills can do.
Okay, I like that. Good answer. Pete, back to you. A 3-foot must make for that par save on 18. Where should the eyes be when the ball drops? Where should we be looking when that ball drops on the 3-foot must make putt? No sneak peek.
No to LTSM. Look too soon to see the miss.
Right.
I'm with the drug company right now trying to figure that one out.
Yeah. Right. Good one. All right, John, back to you. That high lip bunker, the sand is soft and the wall is 5 feet high. We're probably playing over in Scotland. Where do you strike the sand?
Based on the bounce of your club, anywhere between a 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches, and make sure you swing through.
Okay. I like that. That's a good one as well. A windy tee ball. So the wind is howling in your face. Do you swing harder or tee it lower? Or both?
Lower, swing it shorter.
Okay. A little more abbreviated swing, but
yes.
Tee the ball lower. Okay. I like that. This one I call a toe hang putt. So, John, you're standing over a 20-footer that breaks hard left to right. Where's your target, the hole or a spot on the green?
Spot on the green.
Okay. I like that one as well. And Pete, last one for you. After work swing. Pete, you haven't hit a ball in a week and you're headed straight to the first tee. What's the one stretch to find your plane? Yes.
3-2 stretch. I would just take continuous motion swings for about a minute, just to make movement. So take it forward, take it back, take it forward, take it back. Just make swings to move.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You know, I wanted to do this. I was debating on whether I was going to do this because I knew it was going to be a little. That's why I gave you. I wasn't actually going to say anything until we actually got to it, but I thought I'm going to give you a little bit of a heads up so you'll know what's coming. Because it's not easy. I mean, you know, I know we all know our stuff, but at the same time, when somebody throws something out like that, and you're kind of on the spot, and you're trying to, you know, give what you feel is the best answer, it can be a little bit challenging. So I hope people that watch this will appreciate it. It's not always easy sometimes, just to because again, with so many variables and things like that, a potential, you know, issues that could arise. You know, sometimes there could be even more than one answer. But you guys, as always, did a great job. I want to take a few more minutes here before we get ready to wrap up. We're going to wrap up a few minutes early tonight, if that's okay on this discussion. But I'm going to go to you, John, and then back to Pete. What has been, as you look back over your time as an instructor, you know, / coach, what has been some of the biggest challenges that you have personally found, not with your own abilities or things like that, but with working with students? Is it a lack of commitment on their part at times? Is it an unwillingness to, you know, for them to try, you know, things that you've recommended? You know, what is in your mind, what has been some of the biggest hurdles and challenges that you've been faced with as a golf instructor?
I'm going to take a note out of Coach Holtz. Rest his soul. He was very influential in me at 9 years old. Before I was ever a golfer, I knew him at North Carolina State, and one of his resounding themes, goals, things he lived by was, let's not criticize the performer, let's criticize the performance. And going on that and trying to answer the question as simply as I can. Simple is the word. I see too many people trying to overcomplicate this game. Yeah. And when we as coaches are trying to help them simplify it, they will look us in the eye and say, it can't be that simple. It can be if you allow it to be. But when you're making it complicated and you're not understanding Newtonian physics, for every action there's an equal and opposite, and all you're ever doing is reacting off of the opposite, you're making things complicated.
Yeah. I think sometimes keeping things simple, the old KISS analogy, keep it simple, stupid, I think is the best thing going. And it applies not just to golf, but it applies to so many other things. I think people make this game a lot harder than it needs to be. It's already hard enough. We all get that. We realize it can be challenging. There's a lot of variables that can then pop up, as we've talked about many times. But I think a lot of people make it more difficult than need be. I think just keeping it simple sometimes is the best recipe, if you will. Pete, what about you? What has given you some of the, you know, as John put it, given you a cause to, you know, knock a few backs sometimes after work, besides just being tired?
No, for me, it's twofold. I think number one is in my own instruction, you know, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to make this club swing, and then there's a lot of influence out there, and trying not to let too much of that sneak into what I already know, and not letting that move me off of what I know will really help the people to get better at what they're doing. There's a lot of influence. I work with a lot of tour guys that want to, you know, change what I'm trying to do because they heard X, and X do it. I'm saying, listen, you know, I understand that. But it's always simplifying the answer back to them to get them back into understanding where we're trying to go. And I think from a student perspective, I think the biggest thing is is really the challenge is to get them to understand exactly what we're trying to get them to, and get them over the, I guess you would call it the anxiety or the fear of making the change. Sometimes these changes take time. You have to have courage to make the changes, and you have to have patience to allow the time for those changes to take effect. And I guess first and foremost, you have to be willing to make the changes. But I think in that regard, it's really getting, really down to earth with each person that you're working with and tell them, look, this is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna do it. I want to make sure you understand where we're going and the time and effort it's going to take to get us to where we're going to go. And I think if you can be upfront with them, I think they'll have a little bit better understanding of making those changes, and they'll be more willing to take the time to let them get into it.
Yeah, well said, both of you. I think one of the challenges that I have found over the years is the unwillingness to step out of the box a little bit. And what I mean by that is a lot of people get set in their ways, especially golfers that have been playing for a little while. They have a routine that they do, and they're very shy when it comes to making changes, even if it's for their own betterment. Now, some will try it, but if it doesn't get instant results, then they're right back at it. And I think it makes it very challenging as a coach to work with somebody that's unwilling to you sometimes take a little bit of a risk, and they get into their comfort zone, if you will. And I understand that. I get that we're all sort of creatures of comfort at times. We have our favorite maybe shows, or we have a favorite cocktail that we might like, and sometimes we're a little bit afraid to experiment. And I think it's I think you have to be, as you put it, Pete, and John, you've put it as well. I think you have to be willing to be receptive to change when it's necessary. But more importantly, you have to put it into practice. You can't just say, well, okay, yeah, I'd like to do that, try it once, and then give up. There's a reason why you have to work through the process. And sometimes change takes a little bit longer, especially if it's a monumental change. And not everybody's going to have that, but there are some out there. And when they just keep falling back to the same old patterns, then it gets the redundancy just mounts up, and they don't see results, and then they become frustrated. And that, I think, is one of the biggest challenges, I think, as golf professionals and golf coaches that we've had for many, many decades. And it goes to my point I made earlier is I think this is one of the reasons why handicaps, because, we've got great technology out there now. We've got some great coaching folks and techniques and things like that. But gosh, it takes two. You can't just expect the coach to work miracles if you're not willing to bring your best efforts to the lesson tee as well. So it's one of those things that I think it's like I hate to use this analogy, but it's like a marriage. It's like bring a couple together. You each bring your strengths and whatnot to the situation, but you also have to be willing to compromise and make adjustments and adapt. And when you've got one sort of bringing everything to the table and the other one's not, then you find yourself in a situation where it's not going to work. But very quickly, guys, if John, I'll go back to you. If you want to let the folks know the best way they can reach you, if they want to do so, where can they get a hold of you, and if they want to start that conversation?
Well, first and foremost, Ted, thanks for the opportunity. It's a monthly ritual for me the past few years, and it's always an opportunity to share. It's always an opportunity to make Pete laugh and smile too, which I enjoy. Thank you, Pete, for being there. Ted, you talked about this instant golf improvement. We were just talking about it. Everybody's looking for that instant. And this was written out of frustration because you're looking for so much instant, yet you're not doing the things that you were saying and that Pete was saying and I was saying. So instantgolfimprovement.com. If you buy a book there, I will sign it. I will send it to you. I've got one going out tonight. You can reach me at John at John Hughes Golf. There you go. Ted's got it. John at johnhughesgolf.com. There will be a big announcement next week that I'm not allowed to say that I'm awfully proud of, and I'm still trying to wrap my arms around. But the other thing I want to talk about is visiting Omni Homestead up in Hot Springs, Virginia, America's oldest resort. I'll be up there May 25th through June 15th and do have some spots available for you to come see me up there.
Okay, well, reach out to John, and he'll definitely hook you up and get you on the right track. Pete, what about you? Best way people can reach out? If there's anything quickly that you want to plug as well, by all means, go ahead.
Yeah, they can reach me at PeteBuchananGolf.com. I just recently transitioned to a new indoor sports facility. So we've got 2 indoor track bands that we're going to be using. We'll be doing a whole lot of new programs. So, hit the website. You'll be able to see what we're starting to put together, different ways to train. And not only from the conventional game, but I have one of my long rod guys that's right here in town. And so we're going to be doing some speed training as well, utilizing his skills and show some golfers how to hit some bombs. So come and join us.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
That's Pete, BuchananGolf.com is his website, by the way. All right, guys, thanks for a great Coach's Corner. Quick and clinical, exactly how you want your recovery game to be. Coaches, thanks for keeping us out of trouble. Coming up next, we're leaving the grind behind for the ultimate luxury. Alexis Santana joins us to showcase why Punta Espada is the crown jewel of the Dominican Republic. Stay tuned to Golf Talk Live.
If mental clutter and inconsistency have been sabotaging your performance, rhythm and tempo phrases could be your breakthrough. These powerful phrases tap into your brain's natural rhythm-motion connection, syncing your swing to tour-level precision. Think of it like your body's instinct to move with the beat. This is scientifically known as sonification. With Audio Golf, we harness sonification to align your swing perfectly with the right rhythm and tempo, elevating every part of your game, from drives to putts. Let's talk about Pat, an aspiring pro. In just one 30-minute session, his like-putting accuracy shot through the roof. It might sound too good to be true, but you can experience it for yourself. Click the link and get access to the free lesson, 15-foot putts in 10 minutes with rhythm and tempo control.
Welcome back, everybody. And once again, we're going to hit our travel segment. And I'm excited to bring on a couple of gentlemen that are going to be joining me tonight. Of course, my good friend and co-host and travel expert, Robert Kaufman. And we got a special travel guest. I'll introduce him in just a moment. Let me tell a little bit more about Robert for those of you joining in for the first time to our travel segment. Robert is an award-winning golf photojournalist and travel writer. He has spent decades documenting the world's most beautiful courses. His work has appeared in Golf Digest, Golf Magazine, Links, and Golf Tips Magazine. And as a global traveler, he brings an unparalleled eye for the aesthetics and logistics of a perfect golf trip. And if you want to find more of his work, you can see him on his website at pictureperfect.com. And joining us tonight as our special travel guest is Alexis Santana, and he is the managing director of Punta Espada Golf Club at Cap Cana. He's a seasoned leader in luxury hospitality and oversees the #1 ranked course in the Caribbean and Mexico, ensuring a world-class experience at the heart of the Dominican Republic's most prestigious development. So, guys, welcome to this week's travel segment.
Thank you, Ted.
Thank you, Ted. Yeah, it's great to be here. Always love hearing that intro about me.
Yeah, nothing like a good ego boost to get going.
No.
All right. Well, listen, I'm excited.
But it's always followed up by a good guest. What's
That's
that?
right. That's right. I say I'm excited to hear about this particular resort and area down there. So what I'm going to do is, as I always do in this segment, Robert, I'm going to pass the baton, as it were, the mic in this case, to you. And I know you've got some questions lined up for Alexis. And Alexis, I'm going to sit by and just enjoy the conversation, and then I'll come in at the end and wrap things up.
Perfect. Thank
Excellent.
you.
Alexis, it's great to finally meet you, see you face to face. I got to tell you that that was my first visit to the Dominican Republic. I'm based here on the West Coast, so it's a bit of a distance for me to get to. But that was my first time in the Dominican, and let alone any island in the Caribbean. So, needless to say, with my first golf experience in that part of the world, being at Punta Espada, it set the bar pretty high. So, I don't know where else there is to go.
Well,
So I mean, I've played plenty of seaside courses here in the States, international destinations. But, I was just blown away by how Punta Espada just interacts so intimately with the ocean. And I mean, on some of the holes, you can just feel the mist from the waves. So, but really, before we get into the golf, I mean, I want to hear from you, more about the location, because, the course is merely a small, albeit important, piece of the entire community down there. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, Cap Cana was basically conceived 24 years ago as a master plan luxury destination. Basically, it was conceived as a premier Caribbean destination.
Right.
From the beginning, the vision was uh, create a gated high-end community to compete with all the high-end Caribbean destination uh, in America, and obviously the world. And we have a huge community here from the whole world. It's a big community, and it's a gated luxury community.
And how big is it now? I mean, what kind of land? And before we go on, I mean, I want people to understand that it's on the far east coast of the Dominican, correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. We're
yeah.
in the Dominican Republic, and just for you guys to understand, the Manhattan Island, it's 60 square kilometer. This property is double of that.
Oh, wow. You just don't have the high rises.
No, we don't. We don't. We will have, but not as high.
Yeah. So how large is the community
Uh,
roughly?
Full-time living here, I would say about 5,000 people live here full-time.
Okay.
And a lot of them live seasonal, like snowbird, those people who come for the winter and then
Hmm.
spend at the end of April. And
Yeah.
some of them come to the hotels, and there's around 9 hotels around the property.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. So, I mean, give us, a little bit more background on, the overall development, because really, from what I understood when I was down there, it's only about halfway there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you've got a ways to go. So there's a lot more ground to fill in, and so what's really fueling, if you will, the rapid growth down there? Who's buying property down there? Where are they coming from?
Well, to put it in perspective, the 35-40% of the property has been developed already between hotels, private houses, condominium, and I would say majority of our public it's from the U.S., North
Okay.
America, basically,
Right.
Canada and U.S.
Hmm. And I imagine most of that is East Coast based.
East Coast, and believe it or not, we have quite a few from the South and the West, mainly from Texas,
Oh,
which
okay.
Texas has direct flight from several cities to the Dominican Republic.
Right. Well, that would make sense then. Yeah. Yeah. That's the only that was the only downside about coming from the far west here in California. There is no direct flight, so it makes the travel a little bit more strenuous, if you will, and longer to get there. So it takes up a full day. But yeah, if you got direct flights coming from Texas, that's great. That covers a lot of ground.
It's only 4 hours from Houston.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. That's how long it takes me to get to Hawaii. So that's why I go the other direction most times. But so how many? You said you had 9 hotels now, currently, or
Yeah, yeah.
now,
There's
how
a.
many more? How many more in the process of being built? Or
I would say in the near future, there has not been decided yet, but there will be in the next 3 or 4 years. I would say there are going to be 2 more.
okay,
Uh, but the operator has not been decided yet. But as of
right,
now, like it just last year was up in the San Regis, which is a step away from our clubhouse, right in
yeah,
front.
that's where I stay. That's a magnificent property. Yeah,
There's a Hyatt, Steven Silara, which is one adult only, and the other family. There's a Sanctuary, which is operated by Mario. There's Dreams, also operated by Hyatt, and we have also the Eden Rock, which is a
okay,
relation,
yeah,
uh, which is also here uh, inside the golf course, right on the side of hole 16.
right, okay. So just one other area before we get into the golf part, because I know you're chomping at the bit to talk about the golf courses. Uh, just again, getting into the overall community of uh, Cap Cana. Talk about, just explain some of the other activities, adventure activities that are available down there. Obviously, you got all the ocean activities and land, and I understand you got one of the largest, if not the largest, water park in the Caribbean.
Oh, just to put it sport wise, we got an equestrian center, one of the biggest of the Caribbean. We also have the biggest inland marina in the Caribbean. And also, we have Eco Adventure Park, skate
Right.
park. We have Dorado Park, which is a water park that was opened just like a couple years ago.
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot of things to do here in Cap Cana, sport
Yeah.
wise.
So once you pass through that gate, you're captive. There, you'll never be at a loss for something to do.
Well, this is a community created like a city, destination city. In order, when you're here, you don't have to go anywhere else.
Right. You've got all the infrastructure already set, and
First class,
stores,
first
supermarkets,
class,
medical, everything.
everything, everything.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Golf. So we got the primary one, Punta Espada. It's been there for what, 20 years now? I think you're
This is actually the 20th
9.
anniversary of the golf course this year.
Okay. Right. So, oh yeah, you opened in 2006. And then you've got a second one coming. Las Iguanas was due to open all 18 holes the end of the year. Uh, so they're both Nicholas signature design courses. Okay. So with him having done both, I know Las Iguanas is, you only got 9 holes now. It's not really fair to compare. But what do you anticipate in terms of, what golfers can expect? Going there for the first time, when the course is fully open, they're going to have a choice of two different Nicholas courses that I would presume are going to be vastly, not maybe not vastly, but they'll have a lot of differences between the two. So talk about that. Let's talk about the Punta Espada course, what that one's all about, and then let's get into the Las Iguanas. What's coming?
Well, talking about Punta Espada, it's Punta Espada is recognized among the world as one
Yeah.
of the top in the world by Golf Digest. It's actually number 41 on the
Wow.
world. And basically, what we're trying to accomplish with La Ciguana, it's converting Punta Espada on a more exclusive golf course, and then destinate La Ciguana to more of a resort course.
Punta Espada.
Excuse me? I'm
Uh,
sorry.
I'm sorry, I
Couldn't hear.
lost you on that last part. Talking about Punta Espada, you said it's
Well,
more of a resort type course.
no, no, no. I was saying like La Ciguana will be more of a resort type
Oh,
course.
okay,
And
okay, I missed that.
Punta
Okay.
Espada, more exclusive model. Punta Espada, it's rare to find a golf course with 8 holes that play on top of the Caribbean Ocean, and it's an scenario on every hole you go.
Oh yeah, no, like I said earlier when we first started talking, I mean, I don't think I've ever played a course where there are that many holes. I mean, you're literally right there on the edge of the ocean, and it does affect the play with those winds coming in and the waves crashing over the cliffs there and the rocks right up against the fairway. So it's quite a sight, and it does have quite an effect on the way you play. So what's the best approach in terms of playing that course for anyone going there for the first time or someone that's played it multiple times? What in your
I,
mind is the best approach to play that?
I would say that you listen to your caddy. Take the
Oh,
advice.
I did that plenty. I did that plenty.
That's the best advice I give to any player playing Punta Espada, and stay away from the waist area. That's it.
That's it. That's all you got to do. That
Oh, keep your ball in the fairway.
sounds pretty simple.
Yes.
And what's going to be the game at Las Iguanas? How is that going to play much differently than
Well,
Punta Espada?
As Iguana will be more wavy, like a lot of movement on the fairway, elevated greens, and a lot of wavy greens. It's going to be a smaller green. It's going to be shorter than Punta Espada, but it's going to be kind of more challenging than Punta Espada because Punta Espada is wide open. Las
Right.
Iguana
Yeah.
is going to be its fairway is going to be wide open. But then in order to get to the green or keep the ball on the green, it's going to be a little hard.
A little more challenging because they're going to be much smaller than the ones at Punta
The,
Espada.
but I would say no, but the putting green will be a little bit harder.
What's the best part of your role?
What's the best? I'm sorry, I lost you.
The best part of your role overseeing the whole golf operation?
Well, I've been in this for 28 years, and I really enjoy people. I enjoy getting to know a lot of international people, people from around the world, and dealing with this. I mean, we have a Dominican Republic. It's a very special place. Our people, it's even they're struggling. They're always with a smile on their face, and I like dealing with our people and dealing with all the international people that I get to get along with on a daily basis.
Right. And I have to ask, what's the most challenging part that you have to encounter every day?
Uh, Pace of play.
That makes sense.
Pace of play. It's one of the challenging part. It's the
Yeah.
stone I choose.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
that's
basically, Punta Espada, everybody wanna go play, take a lot of pictures because
right.
everything,
Right.
and
Right.
that made it a little bit slower. But
Well,
we
there
we
there are a lot of distractions out there.
well we deal.
Yeah. Well, like you mentioned earlier, listening to your caddies, they really help move things along pretty good, and they get to understand your game like any good caddy would pretty quickly. And of course, they know every blade of grass out there and where to hit the ball. So yeah, they become a very integral part of the play out on the course. So for me, kind of winding up here, what should visitors take away? They come to visit, they play the golf, stay at the hotels. What do you want them to take away from their experience?
The service, the experience, basically, a good golf experience. Golf courses, there's a lot around the world. What
Right.
makes it's the experience that every guest or every member gets on the golf course. And that's our priority.
That's a good priority. That's good. Because without service, they ain't coming back.
It's just a beautiful golf course, and that's it.
No, it's gorgeous. And luckily it's all year round. Is there a time where you have to shut down or at all, or it's every day of the year that you're operating?
We close the golf course at the beginning of June for maintenance procedure
Okay.
for
Okay.
3, and we reopen, and then right before the fall, we close again for 1 week. So basically, we close a month a year.
Okay. All right. And when is Las Iguanas due to open? Because I was out
Uh,
there. I played the 9 holes, but when is the rest of the course expected?
we're working pretty hard to have it open the whole golf course by the end of November.
Okay.
So we expect to have the whole golf course. There's only 6 remaining holes to be built. There's 12 holes already built. 1, 2,
Okay.
and 3 are finished, and you played 10 to 18. And we're working hard to finish the rest of the course.
Right. Now, are these courses only available to members and people staying at the hotels?
Now we're basically open to the public. I mean,
Anybody?
anybody.
Anybody? Okay, so you just show up and play. You don't need to be a
Well,
member. I mean, you
no,
got to get a tee time, but
you got to get a tea time. Basically, at Punta Espada, we do have members and public place. We have around 200 members at Punta Espada. Basically, as I said in the beginning, they're snowbird. They come for the
yeah.
winter, then they left. And in the summer, there's still the local members that live full time here, and they spend here the whole year, and they play in the summer. Uh, and we'll basically open the whole year to the public.
All right. Okay. All right. Hey, Ted, have you ever been down to Dominican?
I have never been down, but I was looking on the website a little bit earlier, and I got to tell you, there's some beautiful holes on there. I'll tell you, the golf alone would keep me there for about 2 months.
Come visit us.
I just might take you up on that. So I have really 2 things I want to ask you. One is related to golf, and then the other one is more of sort of the local flair or cuisines and things like that. So let's go to the golf for a second real quick. I'm assuming you have some sort of a academy or like a golf academy or something there. I'm sure because you have memberships. Is it available to guests that are coming to visit if they want to tune up their game a little bit before they tackle the golf course? Do you have some instructors on hand on staff that can help them maybe with last minute adjustments to their game?
Yeah, we do have a couple of instructors here in the club, and they do give lessons for. It's not kind of a golf academy,
right?
It's book your lessons and
Sure.
take a lesson.
So you have a practice facility in that obviously people can warm up, and if they want to get a little fine tuning on their game, you've got some pros on hand that can help them with that. I think one of the things that makes for a good vacation, a good adventure is, especially when you have the opportunity to go all over the world, you want to kind of feel like you're getting a little bit of the local flair. What is it that the resort offers? I mean, you have multiple hotels, and they have, I'm sure, have restaurants, many of them inside and that. But do you have anything on site that kind of encapsulates the sort of the Dominican Republic local flair, like local cuisines, that thing? Are you providing some of that just to give people an example of some of the things that they can taste or try that maybe they don't get back at home? Do you have that available as well for somebody who's never been?
Basically, most of our restaurants around the city, they do have Dominican food, which they order from the menu, and there's more than 100 or F&B inside the property. So,
okay.
And even in the clubhouse, we have 3 restaurants, 3 venues, a restaurant, a 19th hole, and then snack bar. Okay. And in any 3 of them, you can get Dominican food. That it's even in their menu.
Okay, so they do have something locally, and then you have obviously within the main area in the Dominican Republic, there's a lot of restaurant choice if they want to go and have something there. Because when you're traveling like that, you don't want to just get the same old stuff that you get somewhere back here. You want to have something a little bit different that makes it a much more enjoyable vacation, I think. But the property's beautiful. I know that the website that I was on was Punta Espada golf.com, and that's PUNTAESPADA golf.com. That's Punta Espada golf.com. I'm assuming that's your main website. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So we'll give that again a little bit later on the broadcast, but a beautiful place for those of you that want to take a different vacation, something a little bit with some beautiful golf holes. And even if you don't play golf, there's lots of things, as Alexis has pointed out in the conversation, that you can go and do there. So you definitely want to book your trip. And what's the best time of year to come down there? Like weather-wise, what would you say would be the best time if somebody wants to come down to get the overall best experience?
Well, Ted, this is the Caribbean. It can rain. It's good to come to Dominican Republic.
That's
and
right.
More.
I got it. Well, guys, I want to thank you for a great discussion tonight on tonight's travel segment. And again, if you go to the Punta Espada golf.com website, you can check all of the information out there, exactly what we're talking about. And I definitely suggest you guys book a trip for those of you that are interested in something a little bit different. But sorry, go ahead, Alexis.
You can also go to capcana.com, and there you're going to find anything from the whole city.
Okay, capcana.com.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So we got 2 websites. Okay, sounds good. All right, coming up next, we're talking about the future of the game. And if you have a junior golfer at home dreaming of the next level, you won't want to miss our featured guest, Jeff Hensiek, on how to bridge the gap to college golf. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody, to Golf Talk Live, and very, very excited to have my featured guest this evening, Jeff Hensiek. He is the marketing director of College Golf Experience, and we're going to talk a little bit about college golf and how to get your youngster prepared in that journey to play some collegiate golf. And these guys are the best in the business to get your guy or gal ready to play collegiate golf. So we're going to talk about that. Let me introduce him first, and then I'll bring him on. Jeff is the marketing director, as I said, for College Golf Experience, where he leads strategic growth and brand awareness for a portfolio including CGX camps, TUGR, rankings, and committed golf, CSU Long Beach journalism alumnus, and he leverages data-driven background in digital media and strategic communications to help junior golfers navigate to college recruiting landscape. So a lot in there. Jeff, welcome to the show. I appreciate you coming on, and we got a lot to talk about, but I want to ask you this first is why golf for you? What was it about the game that you enjoyed that you wanted to be a part of it?
First of all, Ted, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate the time. I grew up playing golf with my father. My first set of golf clubs was his Wilson Staff Blade set that he used when he was in high school. And it's something that we really bonded over. I was fortunate enough to grow up in Burbank, where DeBell Golf Course at the time, I'm not sure if this is still the case, but up until you're 18 years old, you could play 18 holes at DeBell Golf Course for free. And so I took advantage of that. Every summer, I would play some days 36 holes, some day more than that, and get out and, spend time outside, spend time in nature, which I appreciate. And there's a competitive element to it that you can't really find as an individual. At least I haven't in another sport. So I've been in love with it for a long time, and I'm lucky enough to be working in it still.
And did you have aspirations of ever playing on a more professional level? Did you play collegiate golf yourself? Was that in the wheelhouse, or was that something that you obviously have an interest in because you're working in that field now? But did you have aspirations, and if so, where did it go from there?
I had aspirations in a different sport. So my primary sport growing up was baseball. So okay. I don't know if you could see in my background, but I've got Kirk Gibson hitting a home run, and I spent a lot of time in LA going to Dodger games growing up, and so I played catcher there, and that was my number one growing up, and it didn't play out for me necessarily the way that every high schooler hopes, and right. So golf is something that I kind of played when I was younger and really came back to as an adult. It's something that I've really bonded with friends and family over now as an adult. And it's been really enjoyable for me to get to learn about what this recruiting process in the golf space and what college golf is like through the lens of others, through the lens of junior golfers and their parents and the college coaches who I've met along the way. And I actually think it provides a really interesting perspective for me because I'm learning it from scratch almost. And so as an outsider a bit in the space, it's been really enjoyable for me. And I learn as much as the players and parents do at every one of our camps.
So what is, I guess, CGX? And we're going to do CGX for short because it's too long to keep saying the full name all the time.
Fair enough.
How has the growth been over the last several years since its inception? So obviously you've seen some momentum. I know I've had Joshua's, we talked about off air on the show. And of course he's the CEO and founder, and I've had him on many, many times. And this was something that I remember a few years ago that he talked to me about and said that this was something that he was going to do. So give us an idea of sort of when it came about, how it sort of developed and where things stand now. And then we'll get into some specifics.
Sure. The quick background story is that in 2021, the Golf Coaches Association of America came to Josh, our CEO, and asked if he would build a camp platform connecting college coaches and junior golf families. I know that he did a lot of research when that ask came through, and what really stood out to him were two main things. One was the depth of junior golf. Since 2019, the game at the junior level has grown by more than 40%. Wow. I believe it's the fastest growing sport for at least the junior space in the United States. And the second one, which he realized should have been obvious in hindsight, was that this platform exists in every other sport. It showcase camps, IDs, combines. They existed in basketball and football and soccer, and they just didn't exist in golf in that way. And so for parents and players, the access wasn't there to get in front of college coaches before that June 15th content deadline. And parents had no way of hearing directly from college coaches what they were looking for and how to navigate the process. So there was a lot of reliance on Google searches and parent forums and secondhand resources that, are never quite the same thing as hearing direct from the source. So through CGX, Josh set out to change that. So in 2021, CGX ran a handful of camps, maybe 4 or 5 events. And this year we plan on running 150 camps in 26 states and 3 countries.
Wow.
We've served, we've served over 5,000 players in that time, and we've worked with more than 400 college coaches. So the growth has been tremendous over the years.
So it brings me to this question then, because you mentioned just a moment ago that there really wasn't a platform for a lot of parents, particularly, and even for the juniors themselves, unlike in other sports where there is that sort of, springboard, if you will, to get into the collegiate game. So you guys have obviously been a big impact then in the sport. So what has been some of the families, how has it impacted them? And what has been some of the feedback that you've been getting from the families and even from some of the junior golfers now that you guys are there for them, helping them sort of make those decisions and guide them along?
Sure. When I think about our product and what we are hoping to accomplish, I'm hoping that players can improve their game, that parents feel more confident and have some clarity in the recruiting process, and that ultimately players end up finding their spot on a college golf team. And that's really what it's all about. At the end of the day, I would love to see a parent attend a camp, feel more confident in the process. You improved your game, you upped your Tugger ranking, which we'll talk about later. And then find your fit, whether that's at D1, D2, D3, NAI, or JUCO. The results are that 60% of our families come back to camps as their priorities shift. Maybe they started looking at a D1 program and now they're exploring something more academic, or they realized that maybe a better balance, college life balance was more suited for them. And so the feedback's been tremendous. We hear from parents. One of my favorite things I hear from parents are when we run a camp with college coaches that represent multiple levels. So we'll have a panel of coaches talking about what it's like to play college golf, and we'll have a high-level D1 coach sitting next to a D3 coach, and that D1 coach is talking about how amazing the D3 experience is, and maybe they played D3 themselves, and parents will reach out to us after and say, thank you so much for having that opportunity for my son or daughter to hear that D1's not the only way, and that it's not a bad thing to explore your options and see what else is out there. So, the education on that is such a valuable thing for families to understand what's out there and, again, ultimately find their fit.
You raise a really interesting point because, again, not everybody is going to make it to D1. The standards are pretty high and, there's nothing wrong with D2 and D3. So, there's a lot of other options, as you said. And I want to talk about the camps a little bit because for people that don't understand what actually goes on, you're not just out there, I want people not to misunderstand what goes on. You're not just, I'm saying, I don't mean you personally, but the kids that are participating in these camps, they're not just out hitting golf balls. There's other things. So give us an idea, walk us through a little bit what actually goes on at one of these camps. Yeah,
sure. So we run 4 camp types. The primary camp types are college golf development camps, which are typically one-day events that draw regional golf coaches. Typically, those lineups have a mix of divisions and a mix of rankings represented so that players and parents are really seeing what's out there in a specific region or a certain state. We run academic exposure camps that are filled with IV, D3, and highly academic scholarship D1 schools. We run tournament prep development camps, which are really neat. They're on the front end of a junior golf event. They're the day before, during the practice round, where players spend the day with college coaches going through course management and strategy and really helping guide them on what they should do the next day. And then our prospect camps are single institution camps where players and parents get a campus tour. They use the program's facilities. But what a day typically looks like is the players and parents arrive 7 or 7:30. They get introduced to the college coaches and go through a college golf seminar, which is a great icebreaker. It humanizes the coaches and it gives players and parents the opportunity to see what college golf is like. They hear about what it's like to play in a tournament, be in the van for 7 hours, what time management is expected of players, and what that jump is going to be like to maybe make it a little less jarring for a player to go from living at home with mom and dad to now I live on the other side of the country and I'm building my own schedule and have to do my own laundry. And so they learn a lot about that there. Next is typically a college style practice session where they switch between putting, short game, and then the range, where they spend time with college coaches going through drills, challenges, high pressure situations. And the coaches run through the same drills that they'll run with their college programs. So they're really getting an inside look at how college teams prepare between tournaments and how that they improve those little things that really go a long way to lower your scores. After that, players and parents get to sit down for lunch with the college coaches. They sit at the same tables with them. There's informal discussion where players and parents have the opportunity to ask whatever questions they want. Sometimes it's about college golf. Sometimes it's about the Masters. Sometimes it's about, other interests in their life, fishing, right? So it's a really interesting opportunity to build relationships and see who these coaches are, and for the coaches to see who those players are, who they may someday have on their college golf team. We run a recruiting process seminar after that, where coaches talk about everything from what to include in your email to college coaches that catches their attention, and how that varies from coach to coach. Not every coach is the same. How parents and players should identify schools to target, right? It's not all about the brand, but sometimes it's about making sure you're comfortable, knowing where you want to live, knowing where you want to spend 4 years, knowing what the scores are, the expectations are for players. And so the parents and players leave that seminar, and I often hear that that part alone would have made the day worth it, because they get so much information directly from college coaches. All of these rumors or hearsay or secondhand information that they've heard in the past is now gone, and they know exactly what the college coaches want to know. And then after that is 18 holes with on-course instruction, going through a full golf course with college coaches by their side, talking through course management, talking through strategy, talking through how they would approach a hole. And it's a really great opportunity for a player who normally has a college coach on the sideline at a tournament, watching them from afar, to have them right there and sharing their thoughts with how they think about the game. Instant feedback, right? Yeah. And for the coaches, similarly, they get to hear how that player thinks through it, right? And so it's a really great opportunity for both player and coach to see how that player operates, to see how that coach operates, because everyone works their best with different coaching styles, right? It's about finding what works for you, and I think that's a real great opportunity to see that.
I want to clear something up for the listeners out there, because I know there's going to be some parents that are tuning in, and maybe even some junior golfers. And there's been this long sort of misconception between coaches and players, where everybody thinks that what the coaches, especially in today's more modern game, that purely all they're looking for is the top players. You've got to have the lowest scores, and that's certainly important. Don't get me wrong. You've got to be a good player. But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you've had a lot of experience speaking with coaches, they're also looking for good attitude out there. Obviously, academics come into it. They don't want some kid that's failing all the time either. But they're looking for a positive attitude and somebody that they can work with. Because if you come in and you maybe you're a little bit more of an A-type personality, you got a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, that's a harder junior golfer to work with. And because it's not just all about you. You're not an individual there. You're playing as part of a team. So walk us through that a little bit, because I think that's important, because we see and hear a lot of this, and I know you guys have experienced it, where you get a lot of what we call helicopter parents. And they think they've got to push this, little Johnny to be the best out there. And yeah, you certainly want to encourage them. But the coaches, even at the D1 level, are not just looking for just the best scores out there. They're looking for a little different package as well. Give us an idea of what they're actually looking for, because I think parents need to have a better understanding, as well as the junior golfers.
Yeah. rankings and scores matter, right?
Sure.
They always will. It's a competitive game, and they all matter. But I hear from coaches, we hear from coaches over and over and over that that's a starting point, and that's not the end all be all. Your ranking is not everything you are, and while they may find you or look in that direction, that's not. There's so much more to it, right? To your point. And one of the reasons that I love that parents attend our events along with the player, and it's important to note that the parents are with the player throughout the event. So from the seminars, parents are encouraged to ask their own questions, and they are closely observing as the players are going through their practice sessions. And one thing that we hear over and over from coaches that they are looking for is how players are treating their parents, because they know that the way they treat their parents is the way that they're going to be treated when that young man or young woman walks in their door. And so it's amazing how important of an element those interpersonal relationships and how you carry yourself. Another thing we hear over, and I don't think there's been a seminar that I have conducted where I haven't heard a coach say at a tournament, I would much rather see your worst shot than your best shot, because I want to see what you do right after that. Are you going to hang your head? Are you going to be down on yourself? Are you going to yell at your parents? Are you going to throw equipment, right? Or are you going to bounce back and hit the best shot you can and lift your head, keep your head high, and know that golf is a very difficult game, even at the highest levels. Professional golfers shoot bad shots, right? And so I know that college coaches really like to see that. And I'm sure throughout this conversation, I've already said it several times, but what we talk about is really finding your fit in the game. And when I say fit, that's not just score, that's not just skill, that is how well will you get along with this coach or these people who you're going to spend, again, 4 years with in small vans and for hours and hours on end. How are you going to get along and carry yourself and represent the brand that's on your shirt and your hat when you're traveling the country and meeting other people? So yeah, it's a hugely important thing. And we hear the same things over and over from coaches as they come through.
Well, and that's why I wanted to point that out, because, I guarantee I haven't spoken to as many college coaches as you guys have, but I've spoken to a few over the years as a golf professional myself. And, I hear the same thing is, they get a player out there, again, as you pointed out, hits a great shot. Well, that's fine and dandy, but what happens when you hit a bad shot? What happens to the emotions then? Are they getting angry? Are they snapping at everybody? Are they, distancing themselves? How do they handle themselves in the golf course? Because, certainly not all junior golfers, but a lot of them do have aspirations. Many of them do anyways, that at some point, once their collegiate career, they're thinking of maybe going pro. Well, you can't be out in the pros and you're whipping your clubs around, because I can guarantee the PGA or the LPGA Tour are going to be kicking you to the curb if you do that. You can't do that in front of millions of viewers. So, they're looking for those individuals that are certainly going to step up as far as rankings are concerned, but they want to see emotionally how they handle themselves as well, and how they interact with not just the coach, but with their fellow competitors. So that's definitely important. I know I botched this a little earlier, so I'm going to try and do it. I didn't know you referred to it as Tugger, but this is the Universal Junior Golf Ranking. So I apologize for trying to spell that one out. So you guys have brought that into the platform. What is Tugger, or the Universal Junior Golf Rankings, and how does it differ from some of the other ranking programs?
Yeah, sure. So Tugger is the most accurate and predictive junior golf ranking system available. It was built on the understanding that other golf ranking systems have fundamental flaws and biases built in, and that there was a better way to do this. So this originally was formed, I believe, around the time when Live Golf split off, and the people who came up with the algorithm wanted to find a way to rank all of the professional golfers despite the fact that they weren't playing each other. And so they came up with this really advanced, incredible algorithm that goes beyond my head. If anyone wants to read all the stat methodology behind it, you can go to tugger.org/method. And it's really interesting to read through kind of how it all works. But so Tugger uses a strokes gained head-to-head algorithm where your score is measured against the competitors you played with on the same course, on the same day, in the same conditions. So there's no course rating adjustments, no arbitrary inputs, and no hidden assumptions, and no points. So one thing that I think is great, especially in the junior golf space, is that Tugger ranks more tournaments and more players than any other rankings platform. Tugger includes one-day events, USGAs, AJGAs, professional qualifiers, amateur events, with rankings automatically updated weekly without players having to input any data. And because the tournaments are measured on the same course at the same day, we also have interesting additional kind of advanced metrics and statistics. One that's kind of cool, in my opinion, is we have a weather component. So every junior golf tournament, we have a weather bug associated with it. So a college coach who's researching a player on Tugger can see how a player performs in 0 to 10 mile an hour winds or 20 plus mile an hour winds, or in the cold or in the heat or in dry conditions, and so it's a level of data that's not available anywhere else. And so it's a really good way for players to not just see where they're ranked in, we think, the most accurate way possible, but really see these advanced metrics on how they play, where they currently fit in the D1, D2, D3 NAIA kind of projection built on their ranking and their current stats, comparing them to their peers. And so there's just so much data packed into there that it's a really valuable resource.
Well, and I was just going to add real quick to that, coaches traditionally, it was more of a personal visit. They'd gather the information, they would get certain, and it was not in real time. And to me, I would imagine with the onslaught of AI, that these algorithms are getting more sophisticated, and, platforms like Tugger and even some of the other ones, you're going to see even more advancements, and it's going to even continue to get better and faster. And literally at the, click of a keystroke, coaches now can get access to a wealth of information and make really informed decisions of whether they even want to pursue or certainly investigate, as you pointed out earlier, some of these junior golfers. Is this person fitting within the model that I'm looking for? And then those conversations then unfold at some point. So it sounds like it's great, and you guys have brought that in. So again, that's just one more piece of the puzzle that you guys are offering through CGX to be able to say, hey, we're sort of integrating in our program, and this is what the coaches are using. This is what they're looking at. So this is something, again, a benefit to the parents as well as the junior golfers. So you've also now built Committed Golf. I want to give you a chance to talk about that. This, from my understanding, gives junior golfers even more access to insights that you guys, college coaches, and other information. Tell us why you guys built this, what's the purpose of it, and how, again, it integrates and complements what you already have.
Sure. So since we started CGX, we have been recording content at just about every one of our camps. So we have hundreds and hundreds of hours of coaches talking about everything from the recruiting process, everything you would get at a camp. We have hundreds of coaches, 400 plus coaches, talking about all of those topics, covering every division, covering every topic that a player or parent might have a question about. So Committed Golf's the first platform built exclusively around college golf coach content. So unlike YouTube or some other channels, all of the content that you can currently find on Committed Golf is a college golf coach talking about college golf, the recruiting process, and course management strategy and fitness. So we have captured drills and coaches on the course with players. We have hours and hours and hours of seminars where coaches talk in long form audio segments on these topics. And so now all of that content is available in one place, available on demand. So we have coaches, like I said, from every division, and it's all searchable now by coach, program, topic, question that you have. All you have to do as a player or parent or a swing coach or high school coach is, as a subscriber, you hop in, you search for the topic you're looking for, and you'll likely find uh, 50 college coaches talking about what to include in emails. And so you get to explore those different avenues. And what I think is particularly cool about it is that at a CGX camp, which is great because you cannot replace the in-person experience, of course, you hear this perspective of the 4 to 8 coaches who are there. On Committed Golf, you now hear the perspectives of every single coach who's come to one of our events. And you really get to hear how different these coaches are and what their perspectives are. And it helps you as a player or parent gain more clarity on what your next steps should be.
And I imagine having, it sounds, and it is a lot of information. It sounds to me really what you guys are doing, if I was to water it down, is you're providing a platform that gives the parents and the junior golfers, and even to some degree, even the coaches, a platform that they can integrate together. They can gather information and make more informed decisions. I mean, there's a decision on every part. The junior golfer obviously has to decide what they want first and foremost before the parents really step in. And then the parents have to make decisions based on the information they gather. And then the coach themselves have to also do their own gathering of information. So really what you've done is you brought everything under one house through the Tugger platform, now Committed Golf, and obviously with your original, college golf experience. And again, it's now integrating not only the personal experience, but now an online experience as well, so that they can get that information up front before they even step on your doorstep, and get as much information as possible before they, actually come for their first visit. So walk us through, now you mentioned there's going to be 120 odd camps. Is that correct? That's going to be going on in 26
I believe
states.
150. Yeah.
150. Okay. So that's a lot from what you said, 4 or 5 initially. So that's a big growth. And now in 26 states and several countries as well. So if a parent wants to attend one of the events, one of the camps, whether it be the golf camp or whether it be one of the other ones, what's the process? Give us a range or an idea of roughly what costs are involved, and give us, again, just repeat a little bit of the camps and how much time is involved in commitment to attend them, and how they can go about getting more information.
Sure. So that's okay. That's okay. I'm ready. So on our website right now, so our website is collegegolfx.com. If you go to our camps page, collegegolfx.com/camps, you'll find that our summer schedule is coming online. We still have plenty of camps to go, you'll notice. But for example, we just launched a few new Ivy Golf Institute camps, which exclusively feature Ivy League coaches, which are a really incredible experience for the players who have come to those. I've been to a few, including one that was hosted at Princeton. We're doing another one of those in June. And it's just such an amazing thing to have that group with that background, with Princeton in the background at that golf course. So you can go to collegegolfx.com/camps, and you'll find all of the different camp types there. So I can quickly go through them to kind of give a sense of Sure. each, which is a prospect camp. There are 1 and 2 day prospect camps. Again, those involve a campus tour and use of that program's facilities. So it's a really great inside look at what that program is like, what campus life is like, what the players go through on a day-to-day basis. So again, those are 1 or 2 day events, about $350 to $400 per day. Okay. We have our college golf development camps, which are 1 day camps with about 8 coaches. Again, those are 1 day. So the time dedication is 7 a.m. until dinner, essentially. And those camps are anywhere from $550 to $600 about. Our academic exposure camps, those are D3 camps, which feature exclusively D3 coaches. We have academic exposure camps, which are a mix of D3, Ivy League, and high academic D1 programs. Those are typically 2-day events. They cost around $1,500. And then, like I mentioned, we have our Ivy Golf Institute camps, and those are also 2-day events, about $1,700.
Right.
So we've had players for many of those camps travel from all over the country. And so it's really exciting to see the players who come in and spend some time with the coaches that we assemble.
Let me just ask you real quick. I mean, the day camps, obviously you're going to get, or the day experiences, I'm sure you're getting from all over the place, but you typically are probably going to get more a regional approach to that. I could be wrong. But when you've got your 2-day experiences and that, and people are coming in, do you have places locally as far as accommodations that you work with, partners that you work with to that can easily integrate? So if they want to come in, they're coming in, maybe you've got parents, you've got the kids, that sort of thing. There's accommodation partners that you guys are working with. Can you tell us a little bit about that, just for people that might have those? I know they can get all this information on the website, but I just want you to just give us just an overview.
Yeah. Quick answer is yes, especially for our 2-day camps, we have hotel accommodations. We have hotel room blocks that we post on the website. You can book directly through us. In general, what that means is that we get a discounted rate. So the average family who's traveling in, flying from out of town, is coming in the night before and either leaving the night after the second day of camp or staying through, the day after. So the one other neat thing about the hotel blocks is that typically for those 2-day events, it's actually where the college coaches stay also. So it's this interesting thing where it extends the camp experience beyond a little bit, because you'll see each other passing in the halls, and it's a little bit of a surreal thing, I think, for the junior golfers.
Oh yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything cooler for these youngsters to be able to come in and they've got aspirations, and they've, maybe some of them might even done a little of their own investigating and have a favorite coach that they know is going to be there. So they want to get some, time to chat with them a little bit. And that, I just wanted to really lay that out, because I think a lot of people, and as I said, I've talked to parents, I've talked to coaches in the past, and there really has not, you hit it right on the head in the very beginning of the conversation. There hasn't really been this type of programming for a long, long time in golf. As you mentioned, it's in many of the other major sports, but golf, for some reason, which I'm really surprised about. And kudos to Joshua and people within the golf industry that recognized what he was doing before, could be turned into something that could benefit the junior golf programs out there. That certainly a lot of programs were already existing, but it was a mishmash of what do we do, where do we go, and what. There was really not any sort of central focus point. And you guys have done a great job at CGX. And, I think that is a testament to all of the team, not just Joshua, of course. But so I want to give very quickly the websites for everybody. It's collegegolfx.com to find more about the college golf experience. Tugger, I'll get that right this time, is tugr.org, and all the information there as you want to learn more about the ranking system. And then obviously Committed Golf is committedgolf.com as well. So any final thoughts that you want to share with the audience, and any closing statements that you want to make?
Yeah, I think you said it well just now, right? What we are looking to provide is one ecosystem for junior golf families, parents, college coaches, high school coaches, swing coaches, the golf world who lives in this space, to have kind of everything they need outside of the actual tournament, right? You can, through Tugger, you have your benchmark. Through college golf experience, you have the in-person opportunity to build relationships with college coaches, gain clarity on the recruiting process, and leave with a better plan for you and your junior golfer. And then through Committed Golf, we've now layered in a year-round educational piece where players and parents, to your point, who either have or haven't stepped foot onto one of our campsites, may or may not have met a college coach at that point, they get to hear insights and start getting familiar with what coaches are looking for and what to expect as they go through this process, which for a long time people were in the dark about. And I'm amazed still by how many people who are at our camps for the first time, and they really don't even know where to start. And I think what Committed Golf adds is this really amazing layer for that parent before they step in the door to have some of those questions squared away. And then they get to spend the camp really focusing on what's next. And so, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about those, because I'm really excited with how everything's coming together.
Yeah, as I said, I've had the pleasure of not only having on the show, but meeting Joshua, and obviously haven't met you personally, but had a chance to have you on the show tonight. And I appreciate what you guys are doing. I think, the future generations of this game, whether they aspire to be the next, PGA Tour Pro or LPGA Tour Pro, is entirely up to them. But just to guide them, I think golf provides so many great opportunities for so many people. And I think you have to have a starting point. And this was an area for a long, long time. I heard a lot of people, as I said, who felt that there was a void. And you guys have really stepped up over the last few years and really helped to fill that void and are continuing to grow. I mean, I'm just blown away at just how much in just a short period of time, how much you guys have grown. And I know are going to continue to grow as more and more people become aware of that. So kudos to you and all the others on the team as well. But Jeff, I want to thank you very much. It's been interesting to learn more about it. There's a lot of stuff that I'm always learning. I mean, I didn't play junior golf, but I know a lot of people who did, and I can guarantee it wasn't as easy back then as it is now. And I still got some work to do. You guys still got a little bit more work to do, but you're definitely on the right track. So I appreciate that, and I want to thank you for a great interview. I really appreciate it. So hang tight. I'm going to wrap things up, and then we'll be on our way. All right, that brings us to the clubhouse for this episode of Golf Talk Live. A huge thank you to our coaches, corner panel experts, John Hughes and Pete Buchanan, for the Escape Room Masterclass they gave us a little bit earlier on, and also to Robert Kaufman and Alexis Santana for taking us inside the luxury of Punta Espada in the Dominican Republic, and of course, Jeff Heinzek for his mission with College Golf Experience. How to stay connected, watch the action, catch every segment in high definition on the iGolf Sports YouTube channel, or listen on the go. Subscribe to the audio version on Spreaker, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. I'm Ted Odorico. Trust your swing, enjoy the walk, and make every shot count. We'll see you back on the tee right here on Golf Talk Live. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this week's broadcast of Golf Talk Live. We'd like to thank this week's Coach's Corner panel, and a special thank you to tonight's guest. Remember to join Ted every Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. Central on Golf Talk Live. And be sure to follow Ted on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you're interested in being a guest on Golf Talk Live, send Ted an email at ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. This has been a production of the iGolf Sports Network.